And that random advice that old lady gave you in HEB will come in handy and it will save your life.
Welcome, Waddlers. I'm Alicia.
And I'm Christian, and this is a Waddling Truth podcast.
The podcast where Instagram says, put everything on your registry immediately.
And reality says, why is this still in the box?
Today, we're exposing baby items Instagram swore would change your lives.
And alternating what was actually worth the money and what absolutely was not.
No sponsors, no filters, just real parents with opinions.
Big ones.
Brutally honest ones. The changing table. For me, it was a decorative shelf. The biggest scam since sleep when the baby sleeps. Instagram made it look organized, peaceful. In reality, it came my laundry basket. I'm not walking across the house at 3 a.m. I'm going to change those diapers wherever I land. The couch, the bed, the floor, and sometimes the back seat like a feral raccoon. Did it look cute? Yes. Do I use it? Absolutely not. Not gonna lie, my husband had to convince me to get that changing table. And I was like, I don't know. He's like, no, I'll do it. I'll use it every night. You wanna know how many times that man used that changing table? And 3 kids, it still sits in our bonus room. Never used.
Josh had to convince me to get ours. Him and my mother-in-law, they both had to convince me, and I actually use mine. I do. I use mine a lot, but sometimes I don't. Like, I go through phases of like needing it and then not needing it. But most of the time that I'm changing my babies, it's typically at a changing table. Just because when they're babies and I bring them home from the hospital, I do start a routine. And it is so important for those babies because from what I realized, if I changed them in my room, our routine was completely screwed up. So.
Did you ever change them anywhere else, or was it? Were you very strict on the changing table? Strictly?
Oh yeah, no. No,
Oh.
actually, when we had our third baby and we finally bought a house, we actually bought a white couch, which I thought was a great idea to use that as a changing table. Luckily, we don't have poop everywhere, but no, seriously, I don't know why I thought it was a great idea to use a white couch. I would say using the couch was useful. I keep the diapers in the room just because they clutter up my space. And with 5 kids, I just need the space. I do still have a ton of clutter, and there is diapers in the living room, but half of them are the wrong size.
So the changing pad, did you find that beneficial for you? Like the one where you take to restaurants and stuff? You know, the one that comes with your diaper bag?
Yeah, yes and no. Most of the time that I go to places, I have a routine just like at bedtime. I would nurse my baby before we left. Our go-to was I would sit there, I would nurse because it only takes me 10 minutes. And then I would change butts, all butts, and then we'd go into the restaurant, wherever we are, or whatever we're doing. That's just the best way to do it because then they got a fresh booty to walk around. And typically they won't need another bum change until we leave. And if they do, I'll change them. But I did have a diaper bag that included that. So
yeah. Mine had it too. I just used blankets.
Yeah, I do too. The only one that I ever found useful was the Itsy Ritsy diaper bags.
My dream is to have one of those Ayla ones, or it used to be. I don't have babies anymore.
The Alo?
Ayla. It's like an Ayla. It's a really cute diaper bag. It's just really expensive.
They all are, dude. The good ones are too. Yeah, it had like this really awesome, like magnetic one. I still use it. In fact, when Josh liked it so much, he actually bought one to use for his work bag because he's like, that would be great. I can fit my laptop in here. He's like, I can fit all this stuff here. He's like, are you sure you actually want this for the baby? And I said, if you take my bag, I will beat you up. I swear I did. I'm like, touch my bag.
Oh my God.
No, he really did love it though. It was funny because I was kind of nervous. I bought it when it was on sale. So it wasn't like $300. It was like really, really on sale. And so I was really nervous to tell him because I thought he'd be mad at me. I mean, it was kind of expensive. And I was like, this is my 5th kid, like I'm not going to use it again. But I bought it and I showed it to him and I'm like, please don't be mad. And he's like, do you think they're still on sale? Because I want one.
Why didn't you get me one?
Well, I was like, I thought you would kill me.
Now, Waddlers, did your changing table get used or did it become an expensive decor piece? Next item, the baby swing. Take it away, Christian.
AKA the sanity saver. The baby swing surprised me. Not every baby loves it, and when they do, it feels legal. Hands-free time, food that's still warm, a brief return to being a functional adult. Was it perfect? No. Did it save my sanity? Yes. And to be clear, I had to use this baby swing. I did. And all my babies loved it. I will say I did the Mamaroo. I did the cheap swings. I want to say the best ones are the ones that are like an oval, like an egg shape, not the Mamaroo. Some babies love those. I only had one kid that liked them. The rest of them hated them. They liked the movement, but they hated the seat. So I ended up getting one of those that popped off because when I had my third, I just needed to take her everywhere I went because I had 2 other kids. What about you, Alicia? Did you use one?
I could never get myself to splurge on an expensive one. As much as I wanted to try it, I couldn't get myself to do it. But I did get the one from Target. My babies use them probably until about 6 months old. And then they just, at this point, they want to be on the tummy time mat and everything like that. But my kids, I maybe got like a small break from them when they were in the swing, but my biggest break was when I just put them in the baby carrier and I could get stuff done. But I did use the swing, just probably not as much as I didn't use as much as I probably should have.
Well, mine liked it for a different reason. Every time they were like stopped up and they needed to poop, I would put them in the baby swing, and every single time they'd have a blowout.
Did you see that baby swing now that they have that the babies are literally on their belly? Like,
Yeah, I've seen that.
that one would have probably been beneficial with my son with colic. I always see that and I'm like, I wonder if that works with the babies that are colic or have tummy issues or very gassy babies, because you're literally like, it's kind of like being on mom's chest and just rocking around the whole time.
Yeah, for sure. I don't know how it would be. All right, well, did you guys use your baby swing? Was it a lifesaver?
So now we're going to go on to one that Christian loves, the diaper bag. I personally never cared for a diaper bag because mine, I just never used it. I used my handbags more than my diaper bags.
I agree with that. I actually, so I feel like diaper bags are really great for your car. They're good for your car because I load mine up like I'm going on a 6-month trip.
Yes.
And then I leave it in the car, and whenever I need stuff, I just get it out of there. And if I'm running into a restaurant, I'll grab a diaper and I'll grab some wipes. And worst case scenario, the baby has a blowout, I have to run out to the car. It doesn't take long, and I would rather do that than a backpack. I just find it to be unnecessary. The only time I think a backpack is worth it is when we're going to like a zoo or
a doctor's appointment.
No, I don't even take them at doctor's appointment.
Oh,
I probably
really?
should, but I don't.
That was the only time I found it beneficial. I don't know. Those Instagram diaper bags, they look like a personality trait. Mine was a crime scene. Snacks mixed with wipes, one sock, receipts from 6 months ago, and something sticky. It never stays organized as when I put everything in there.
It doesn't. So in my mind, I'm like, I'm so organized. I'm going to have an outfit for each kid. And I'm going to have diapers and I'm going to have wipes. And I'm going to remember there's chapstick in there. And the next thing I know, I'm looking around everywhere for chapstick. And I can never find it. I had all the things. I even had diaper cream, maybe nausea meds. I have it all.
I can't tell you how many times I had to dump out my diaper bag in the middle of a store so I needed to find my keys or my wallet, even though I designated a pocket for my keys and wallet, but I would just throw them in the bag.
I've done that before.
Be honest, what random item is currently living in your diaper bag?
In mine, probably a half-eaten protein bar, which is really gross.
You know what? Actually, I did find one in my diaper bags the other day. I found, what was it? Oh my God. I think it was it was a chicken nugget from McDonald's. It was something weird. I was like, ew.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah.
Disgusting by design. The nose sucker is the MVP. Is it gross? Absolutely. Does it work? Also, absolutely. Actually, today I had to suck a nose and she cried, but afterwards she was doing this. She's like, I can breathe through my nose. And I was like, I know, girl. You're welcome. Those suckers work great. I do not use the battery powered ones. I always get the nose freedom ones, the little freaky ones that you have to suck on. I find those to be the best. I can't find mine anywhere. So I actually had a hospital one that I was able to use, which if you're in a crunch, those are great. As long as you got saline and you got one of those, you're unstoppable. When your baby can finally breathe and sleep again, Nothing else matters.
So, speaking of freedom, mom, what do you feel about those little butt whistles?
God, why we gotta bring that up?
You don't like them? I love them.
I do. So when you bring your baby home from the hospital, I just find them to be so weird. So, like, your babies are so gassy. They don't know how to toot. They don't know how to poop. They just don't. And so you run into a problem where you need to help them sometimes, or else you're dealing with a screaming baby. And those saved my life. So I never used them before Noelle had the meconium plug. And when I brought her home from the hospital, it scared me because, like, I'm sorry, it's gonna get a little graphic here for a second,
We're
but
all moms here. If you're not, get ready. Modesty goes out the window, people.
literally, it was just, like, mucusy, and so, like, it was a lot, and when she was born, she didn't have, like, the normal meconium poop. It wasn't, like, green, or black, I mean. It was, like, this literal mucus plug.
Mhm.
It was so gross. It saved my life.
Yeah. I
I
mean,
hate it,
to
but
me,
it
I
saved
liked
my
it better
life.
than having to put a suppository up their butt. So, I mean,
Yeah.
I liked using that better than a thermometer because I liked when you can hear the whistle, you know it's coming. Just beware that after that whistle, you're going to get shot with something.
Yeah, no, they feel so much better, I'm telling you.
Mhm.
It really did save my life. I will say you do not have to buy the name brand ones. They now have, like, super cheap alternative ones on Amazon, and you'll have more than you'll ever need.
Mhm.
But it comes in a pack of 3,000 just in case you need them.
Yeah. And
And
it's
to
like
be clear,
I got a pack of 40 for $6.
yeah. Yeah, with Noelle, I probably would have needed that many. I mean, we struggled for, like, a week, and she screamed for a week straight. It was terrible.
Yeah. That's something I would definitely tell everybody to put on their registry. I
For
think
sure.
and if you think the Mom Frida nose suckers are too expensive, they have the safety first version at the dollar store and it's like literally half the price and it's half the size, but it works pretty well. I like that one because it actually comes with a little carrying case that you can put in your bag and I used to take it with me when I needed it.
Oh, nice. That's good to know because I'm telling you what, I lost my last one, and I really do need it, and I
Yeah.
can't find it anywhere.
I go to the Dollar General and every time they have them, I grab like 2 or 3 of them because they're like half off.
Oh, that's good to know, seriously.
Mhm.
Let's move on to
Baby proofing.
yeah.
So, baby proofing. Does it keep babies out? No, it keeps the parents out. And you know what? Let me just tell you, I've got 3 toddlers at home. I baby proofed my fridge the other day because they won't stay out of my freezer. They ganged up on me and broke that safety lock.
No, they
Yes,
didn't.
they did. They've been getting into my freezer and grabbing these popsicles, and it's like they tag team, and like one of them's on lookout, and one of them's climbing on the chair, and then she's passing down the popsicles, and they take off and run away. And when I went into my kitchen, I saw the lock on the floor, and I was like, "What the?" Because me and my husband can barely get that thing open, and
Yeah,
somehow they broke it off. So, yes, cabinet locks turn into escape rooms. Fathers just watch and learn.
they do.
Is it safe? Yes.
Well,
Is it humbling? Very.
yes, it is very humbling. I will say the only thing I use with baby proofing would be the plug covers,
Yeah.
and I think that's just good practice with
Yeah, I
kids.
agree. I have every plug in my house baby plugged, but my daughter likes to go behind my couch and grab the plug back there where, the lamps are plugged in or go
Oh,
behind somewhere.
Rosie. Yeah, for real. They stress you out.
Yeah, and the doorknob things, I I
Just don't
love them
even
because
try
they keep the
those.
kids in the house, but it's hard to open.
My tip for keeping your kids inside, this is the best way to do it because we bought a hot tub, but we were terrified because, like, water, babies is terrifying. So we got those chain links and we just put it up really high. And that's what we do every night
Mhm.
because kids are little sneakers and they are stinky, stinky little stinkers. And they'll do things that you don't think they're going to do. While has the baby proofing trapped you yet?
And which item trapped you?
Which items did you find to be worth it, and which items did you find to be a waste of money? Bottle warmers, especially portable ones, are great. But let's be honest, the microwave is undefeated. I will say you can't microwave milk, so you can put water in your bottles and then microwave that. But the majority of the time, I
Mhm.
don't use bottle warmers. I've only ever used them for breast milk, but even if I was at home, I would just use warm water. And I'm not gonna lie, I hate bottle warmers. Actually, I'm just gonna be honest with you guys. If you can get a Baby Brezza, you can find them on Facebook. If you can get a Baby Brezza or just like one of those warm water dispensers, they're so worth it. I love mine. I actually don't think I could live without it, if I'm honest, because it's so bougie. It's a little baby Keurig. You just and it's meh, and it makes a little baby formula, and the babies are like, "Yes, it's perfect temperature every time." So,
Yeah.
yes, 10 out of 10 recommend that.
If you didn't know, Christian is a Facebook queen, like a Facebook market queen. She finds the deals everywhere.
I do. I do. I wheel and deal all the time.
So, next item that I personally did not care for was a whiteboard. I don't care for it.
I think nobody cares for a wipe warmer. It's a great thought,
Yeah.
but you do that one time and it wastes your whole wipes
Mhm.
container. Like, it wastes the whole thing because it dries them out.
Also, I just feel like it's very unrealistic because when you're out in public and you have to change your baby, it's cold.
Yeah, I mean, if it
So
really is something that you're so concerned about, like their little bottoms getting cold, just warm it up in your hands. I mean, but realistically, you're gonna do that like 5 times, and then you're gonna put a cold wipe on their little tushy, and they're gonna like cry the 1 second, and then the next time they're gonna be like, "Oh, that was refreshing."
I just don't think I don't think you're changing them long enough to really make a difference. It's like what, maybe a 2-minute thing?
I've always been warned about the wipe warmers. I've always been told just don't even waste your money on it because it just wastes your time and it wastes your wipes and it's not really worth it. Babies just don't care. My baby's never cared. So, Wadlers, wipe warmer, luxury or unnecessary? Oh,
So next, an outlet monitor versus a pediatric pulse ox. I know a lot of people don't really use that a lot, but I do know a lot of people will use the outlet, they'll use the Nanit. There's a lot of other ones that are
there's
out now.
Eufy ones now. That is like, I think that's the Amazon brand.
hmm I think the outlet is a great thought. I think it can calm anxiety. I am very medical mindset. So when I did my research on the pulse ox, and I don't know if this has changed, this was actually 4 years ago when I did this research. The alarm does not go off, from my understanding, until it hits about 85% oxygen saturation. So that did not make me feel comfortable. And so I did not like that. Personally, what I use for my children are a pediatric pulse ox when they come home because I can set the ratings, and then I can use it when they're toddlers. So I think whenever you go into these items, just know that it's a tool. Use it as a great tool to kind of monitor how your baby's sleeping. I know that they monitor the baby's sleeping habits and it'll kind of tell you stuff like that. But just know, like, there's pros and cons with every one of them.
Yeah.
Do your research. If it makes you feel comfortable, do it. I know that with all these devices, you have to be hooked up to Wi-Fi. And so if you have a power outage or something like that, it can cause anxiety. That's also why I like the Pulse Ox because it goes off a battery. I don't need Wi-Fi. So just anytime you go with these items, just go with something that will give you peace. That's all these items are, is just a peace of mind. It is to try to prevent, is their goal is to prevent things, but just know that every tool out there does have pros and cons. So you find the one that's best for you, the one that you feel like you can trust, and the one that's going to make your anxiety less. So that's the overall goal with all of these.
I used the outlet. I bought the outlet Dream, and at that time, it was starting to where you could see everything. And so I like the outlet, but I only use it for maybe 3 to 4 months
Do you feel
because
like it calmed your anxiety or do you feel like it made it worse?
no, I calmed it. Actually, I felt
So tell us, Waddlers, what device do you plan on using for your baby, or what device did you use that gave you more of that peace of mind?
let's talk about another thing that can cause anxiety or be helpful. The baby monitors are great until you stare too long. Why did they move? Why didn't they move? Sometimes the monitor needs the break, not the baby. In fact, my husband would fully agree with this. There's been many times where he's been like, you're catering too hard. So, like, they'd wake up, but they'd be happy. And he'd be like, they can sit there for a minute. Like, it's okay, like, see if they go back to sleep. But he knows better because we've done this a million times. It seemed like with more babies I had, the more anxious I got. So, the more I was like wanting to stay on top of everything. But half the time that I would take a moment, they would go back to sleep. on their own, and that's a really important skill for them to learn. I do love my baby monitor though, because they go into the room around 4 months usually.
Because I've been to your house and you do have your baby monitor and your babies do sleep in their crib. Have you ever, like, had your babies, like, sleep in a bassinet in the living room or on the couch or anything like that, or were they always strictly,
They were
um
strictly in
okay,
a separate apparatus
okay.
constantly.
No, I meant, like, during, like, the day when you're doing stuff, do you ever did you ever put them on the couch to sleep or put them in a bassinet that you moved with you, or did they always go to their room with the baby monitor?
Always did the crib for nap time.
Mhm,
The first 2 months, I would hold my babies because they're, like, little and they just wanna snuggle.
mhm,
But once I noticed that they were starting to develop a pattern, I typically would start laying them down. I start slow because, like,
mhm,
I want that time to snuggle too. So I would always lay my baby down and for 1 nap a day. That's how I would
mhm,
start it, probably about 1.5, 2 months, 6 weeks, somewhere around there.
mhm,
I'd start laying them down once a day, for a nap. It could be 5 minutes, it could be a half an hour, it could be 3 hours. And
mhm,
usually they would sleep once a day and then they'd like kind of work their way up and then they'd work their way up to really preferring that over the bassinet because, the bassinet, it was like cardboard.
mhm.
That is like their mattress, for the bassinet, so they started to prefer their cribs, and so I would notice, like, they'd sleep really great for nap time, and then we'd go to bed, and they'd wake up, like, every 2 hours. I'm like, "What in the heck's going on?" That's usually when I figured it was time to move them to their bed, and they would sleep really good.
I think this is where the medical field ruined me because when I was during my paramedic clinicals, I had a baby that passed away from SIDS,
Mhm.
and that it made me very anxious. That is one of the reasons why my kids are forced to have a pacifier until they're 2 years old. That is just the only thing that makes me feel comfortable with it, and until they're, like, 6 months old, I have to have them near me. I have to know that they're breathing. I've always wanted to do the routine and the sleeping like how you do. I always had the plan to do it, but couldn't. I could not. The only way that I was able to leave their side is that they had to be on me. So I probably ruined that for them to be able to have that independent sleep because I needed them there. Just gotta do what works for you, I guess. Like, I mean,
Yeah.
like I said, I always wanted to be that mom that was able to put them in their crib and walk away and go get the house clean and stuff. But every time I did it, even when I would put them in their bassinet and walk away, I would step away for a few seconds. I would come back and see if they were breathing.
Oh,
And I
I've
just
done
found my
that.
well, I mean, I just constantly feel like I was putting my hand on them to make sure they're breathing, so the only way that I could calm down was I would put them in a Moby wrap or I'd put them in something just so that I knew that they were breathing, but
Mhm.
once they hit that, like, 6-month mark, I was fine with it, but at that point, they were so used to being with me that it almost felt harsh to put them in a crib for nap time, so I kinda screwed myself on those ones.
Yeah. Well, I do have to ask you because you said that, like, a lot of your decisions with parenting come from being in the medical field and stuff. So my mom used to be a 911 dispatcher. My mom, she's not a very pushy person. Like, she really is like, you do however you want to do. But when it would come to my babies, she'd be like, please, for the love of God, please don't sleep with your babies. Like, please don't sleep with them in your bed because she's answered so many phone calls of moms who have accidentally rolled onto their babies. I have nothing against parents who decide to do that. I'm just asking you. So, as a person who works in the medical field, how do you do that? Especially having other kids in the bed. I'm out of curiosity, like truly.
So I will say I'm very meticulous for the way that I do things. One, I'm a hypocrite because my husband is not allowed to sleep with the kids in the bed. He is not allowed to sleep on the couch with the kids. And he knows that because unfortunately the call that I had was on my clinical was that a dad rolled over the baby on the couch. And so he was not allowed to. Me, I think that I had a little too much trust in myself, knowing that I was a light sleeper, knowing that I had trained myself to be very light sleeper, but also I don't know if you know what it is, if you've ever seen them, but I had this little bassinet and
The one that like folds up,
I think so. I can't remember. It was a bassinet, and so my babies would sleep in that, and so it had like these hard walls on it, like so
but
they would
it was
sleep.
an in bed co sleeper, right?
Yeah, so it would sleep in the middle of me, and then if I had a toddler at the time, I had a baby crib in there and the side was off and it was pushed up against my bed, so they would sleep on that. I'm a huge hypocrite, like, I will tell people, like, "Don't sleep with your baby, you're not supposed to," but I I can't. Like, that's just
I wish I
how.
could've. I wish I could've because I
Mhm.
know a lot of people, like, they really love their babies. And
Yeah.
don't get me wrong, I did actually sleep with Evie. When we went to Ohio recently, I slept with her pretty much
Mhm.
half the time we were there because that was the only way we got sleep,
Yeah.
and I was terrified. I didn't sleep practically the whole time because I was so scared of, like, rolling onto her. I mean, I can understand why you'd want to, but I
No,
couldn't.
I know, and
I
it's
wish I
crazy
could.
because you would think as in the medical field, you would be more strict with it, but when I did have them in their own bed, I had bedside bassinets where it
Yeah,
was
I no, that's what I had too, yeah.
yeah, and I couldn't do it. I could not have them that far away from me. Like, and for some reason, if they were that far away from me, in my head, I could not hear them. And if they
Mm.
stopped breathing, if I could not comfortably have my hand next to them to feel them rising and falling, I couldn't do it. That was like I said, my husband, he practically didn't sleep in our bed. He either slept at the foot of the bed or he would sleep. We moved a futon in there at one point and he slept on that. So that was just like, it was for my comfort. But as they've gotten older, obviously they can
Right.
sleep in their bed and they're fine. But it was probably like the first year. So it was just like, that was my peace of mind. That's also why I had to leave the fire department because I could not get myself to leave for 48 hours at a time and trust that they'd be okay. I know my husband could take care of them. I know he's perfectly capable of it, but I'm like, nope, I'm not there. Something's going to happen.
Well, you're a good mom, Alicia.
So are you.
Thank you. It's funny because we just do things so differently. Like, I do find it fascinating to hear how you do things. Motherhood is not black and white. It's not a right way or a wrong way. There's
Yeah.
nothing wrong with sleeping with your babies. There's nothing wrong with putting them in bassinets. So,
I also think it comes with the kind of delivery you have with your children. If they end up in the NICU for a little bit, I think it also alters that. I had 2 babies in the NICU. The way that they do things in the NICU is completely different the way that they teach you in the nursery when you take your
yeah.
baby. So in the NICU, they want your baby propped up at an angle. That is what all the neonatologists will tell you. Like, they need to be propped up to an angle. They need to have something behind their head to kind of keep their airway open. But when they give you your baby and they will them in there, they're like, they have to be flat and they have to do this. And so I think also when you get all these tips from the NICU and they're saying this is what you need to do, and then you have a normal birth where nothing happens and they're fine, and then they're telling you to do this, you're like, hold on, that goes against everything I was taught. So I think also that also plays a big factor in a lot of
I
things.
do think I could see where other parents get that. Like, cause I could see that being a problem.
Hmm.
I was blessed enough to have my mother-in-law, and
Hmm.
if it wasn't for her, I don't think I would have known to, like, when they're newborns, they, like, are scrunched up, so they
Hmm.
want to be, like, wrapped around just like in the NICU. They do that in the NICU.
Hmm.
They, like, wrap blankets and, like, tightly put them next to them. I always did that if my baby was swaddled. I did know all of that, but my baby wasn't in the NICU. But I do wonder if maybe other parents who are trying to get their babies to sleep flat, if they just don't know to, like, tuck a blanket around the bum. That was
Hmm.
enough for my kids just to feel like their little bums were being
Yeah.
held. It just goes to show you guys that it doesn't matter how you raise your children.
Hmm.
All that matters is that you love them fully and you do what you believe is best for them. So if you sleep with
And
your
what you
babies
feel
in
is the
bed,
safest. Don't ever
yes,
go anything that you don't feel comfortable with. If you don't feel comfortable with it, don't ever do it.
agreed. My
Mhm.
biggest piece of advice to you guys is listen to all of the advice. You don't have to take it and do anything with it, but take it because
Mhm.
sometimes you will come across advice that you don't know that you need in the moment. And later in life, you'll be in a situation where you've run out of all of your ideas. And that random advice that old lady gave you in HEB will come in handy and it will save your life. Listen to all advice. Instagram doesn't raise your baby.
You do.
Some things work, some don't.
And that doesn't mean you're failing. It means you're parenting in real life.
Thank you for watching. We'll see you guys next time.
Bye.